Welcome to another edition of ATL Prime Sports. Todd Corder here with you in the ATL. JJ is out today, and I've got our producer with us, Wayne Ridenhour from Memphis, Tennessee. Wayne, this is going to be a heck of a show. We've got our guest coming up in about 15 minutes, Vasu Vaddiparty, who covers Major League Baseball, Pac-12 football, and basketball for some major networks. We'll bring him on the show when he phones in or comes in on video, whichever one he prefers. Why don't you tell how are you, first of all? And second of all, why don't you tell the good folks out there how to get a hold of our podcast, how to listen to it and watch it?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you, we are on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcast. Just do a search for ATL Prime Sports. We're also on YouTube. You can catch the video version, or if you're driving around or doing some yard work and you just want to listen to the audio, Spotify and Apple Podcast is where to go. As far as how I'm doing, this weekend on Saturday is my son's 21st birthday, and so we're kind of planning for that. I think I'll be grilling some seafood to celebrate that, and all kinds of family members coming, and my mom will be here, and so it'll be a pretty cool time.
That is fantastic. Congratulations and happy 21st birthday to your son. And my wife and I are actually going to drive to Pennsylvania tomorrow and surprise my father-in-law for his 80th birthday party. How about that?
Well, now what day is that? What day is his actual birthday?
It's on Friday, but we're leaving tomorrow. We'll be getting in till late, and we got a long day tomorrow. So it's 11 hours up there. And
all right.
Everybody that, and he doesn't watch podcasts, so he won't know.
Right. All right.
So, all right. Well, we'll talk some Major League Baseball here with Vasu pretty shortly, and maybe we'll get in some Pac-10 and football if we have time. Let's go ahead and talk the NFL first. The Atlanta Falcons play their first preseason game this Friday in Detroit against the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. Game time will be 6 p.m. It will be on the NFL Network nationally and here at Fox 5 here in Atlanta locally if you live in the metro Atlanta area. And these clubs are, let's face it, Wayne, with the Falcons without Matt Ryan and the Lions they've been without Matt Stafford for over a year now. Each club is rebuilding. Detroit seems to have a little bit more higher expectations. They were on HBO Hard Knocks. Edition number 1 was last night. It was at 10 p.m. Check that out. It was quite entertaining. And the Lions, they're talking about winning now. And a lot of gamblers out there are picking Detroit. They're a long shot, not as near as long shot as Atlanta. But it is a trendy pick in Las Vegas. And you wanted to tell me an interesting fact about the line on this game.
Well, yeah, the line on this game is 1 point in favor of Atlanta. So that tells me that they're not really sure how it's going to turn out. Or maybe they just don't care. They get their eyes focused on some other games. And, hey, game time weather. Temperature is going to be 78 degrees. Not because of Detroit or anything, but because they're playing in the field house.
Right. It'll be in Ford Field. The weather won't matter. It's indoors. And it's an interesting game for each club. A lot of these teams now in the NFL with only 3 preseason games, they really don't even play their starters. Well, Detroit and Atlanta, they're going to play their starters. Coach Campbell and Coach Smith got to talk to each other. They're going to play their starters for at least a quarter. Jared Goff will start at quarterback for Detroit. Marcus Mariota will start at quarterback for Atlanta. In each club, they're going to play approximately a quarter. We'll see how it goes. For me, from the Falcons' perspective, Wayne, I really want to see how that offensive line comes off the ball against Detroit's new, number 1 defensive unit and Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan and company. And number 2, I want to see how the Falcons play defense because defensive coordinator Dan Pease, after the 4th practice, had a press conference, and he made an emotional plea that we're not going to be mediocre on defense anymore. And he said it is unacceptable, and the club is going to be really good on defense this year. We're going to play with passion, and we're not going to come up with any excuses. So I like that from Dan Pease. Wayne, what are you looking for from the Falcons on Friday?
Well, the game overall, I think the over-under right now is at 35, and I'm going to go under on that simply because I trust that the defense for both teams are going to be good. As far as starting the starters for the first quarter, I think that's a good idea, because especially quarterbacks, because you've got to see how these new receivers are going to react to the starting quarterback and decide who you're going to keep and who you're going to kick out. And then, second half, second quarter, they'll put in the replacement quarterbacks and probably some of their first string receivers and running backs to see how they interact with this other quarterback.
Well, you'll see first string receivers in with a first string quarterback. You'll see the second unit playing with a second string quarterback. And it is important for a quarterback to get his timing down. You just can't go through practice and be able to do what you can't do what you can do in game speed is what I'm trying to say.
Especially if you practice the way that Tom Brady practiced.
You can look at Atlanta. They've got questions at quarterback. Marcus Mariota obviously is right now the entrenched number one clear-cut starter. But Felipe Franks, to me, is really interesting for Atlanta. He has worked a lot of reps at quarterback and a ton of reps at tight end. And then, of course, Desmond Ridder will also play, the third-round pick out of Cincinnati. But Felipe Franks, I've seen him in practice, and he's trucking people when he catches the ball.
Yeah.
He trucked a DB. You can go check it out on our Twitter account. You can check it at mine at Corder Todd, or the other one on ATL Prime Sports. We have it there, and Felipe Franks has really been impressive, the former quarterback out of Arkansas and Florida. And you know what? These are guys that are looking for an opportunity. Each team, especially the second and third stringers, this is their chance to make a living and make the ball club. And for your first string players, it's a chance to get out on the right foot. And to me, everybody says preseason games are not important. I think they're important to get ready for the season. It's not important in regards to the scoreboard.
Yeah, that's another reason why I'm going to go under 35 on that over-under deal.
Under 35. You know what? I'm just going to have some fun with you, and I'll say it's over 35. The offensive line is really good. It's one of the better ones in the NFL. If they can run the football and play action pass with Jared Goff, it could give Atlanta fits, but of course they're only going to play one quarter. But the Falcons, on the other hand, young offensive line. We'll see if they gel. Let's go on. We'll talk some college football real quick before we get Vasu Vaddiparty on from a major sports network covering Major League Baseball and Pac-12 football and basketball. Let's talk some college football with Georgia. I mean, when I looked at this, defense for Georgia, they've only got 3 returning starters on last season's club. Nolan Smith, him, the star linebacker. Kaylee Ringo, the guy that intercepted the pass to clinch the national championship game over Alabama. And also Christopher Smith, who started over 16 games last year for Georgia. So you really got a lot to replace on defense. And one of the guys I'm looking for is on the defensive line, Jalen Carter. Teammates say he's the best D-line. He was the best defensive lineman last year. And I'm going, if he was, I mean, wow. I mean, that would be quite impressive considering what Georgia had on the defensive line a year ago. And then also when I look at Georgia, on the other side of the ball, the offensive line, to me, it might be a question mark. I mean, you don't have anybody starting from a year ago. Well, you've got 2 guys from a year ago. I'm sorry. Cedric Van Pran and Warren McClendon. But these guys are all sophomores on that offensive line. That is a young offensive line, and you have 3 new starters. And, it's important for a quarterback like Stetson Bennett to be able to play action pass and get the running game. That is really important for him, Wayne. He's got to have a running game to Stetson Bennett in order to be really effective and be able to dump the ball off to Brock Bowers and be able to throw the deep ball downfield to McCaskey and Mitchell. That's, what Georgia likes to do is run the ball and set up the pass with a play action. That's really imperative for him, Stetson Bennett to be high, to be successful. And Georgia, they've always wanted to run that football. And that offensive line, to me, is where it's all at for Georgia offensively. Like I said, you're playing 5 sophomores on that offensive line, and only 2 of them started from a year ago. That's really young. I mean, extremely young.
Yeah, well, as far as the SEC East goes, you already know who I think is going to be the surprise team, and I believe it's going to be September 17th. South Carolina plays at Georgia and South Carolina, and so we're going to find out then if my prediction holds true.
We sure will. And Georgia's had a lot of problems with South Carolina, especially early in the year. As Steve Spurrier always used to say when he played Georgia, first game of the year, that's the best time to play them because they're usually missing 5 or 6 players. That no longer is the case now with Kirby Smart in charge and the head coach at Georgia, and they are the defending national champions. I did pick them number 1 on my preseason poll because I believe until the champs are beat, they're the defending champions. They deserve to stay number 1. You can check that out on my Twitter feed at Corder Todd, Corder Todd. You can check it out on ATL Prime Sports. Another big story, Wayne, in college football. Wake Forest star quarterback Sam Hartman out indefinitely due to undisclosed medical condition. That really hurts head coach Dave Clawson at Wake Forest. And I know you're a line guy, and I saw that now the Wake Forest is only favored to win. They're picking them only to win about 5.9 games a year, which would be 6. Where Wake Forest before was really favored to win more than that. And when I look at that, it's a big loss for Wake Forest in football. It's a huge loss. So that's another big story in college football. And we'll shift from college football to Major League Baseball as we've got Vasu Vaddiparty coming on at V Party Sports on Twitter. He covers Major League Baseball and Pac-12 football and basketball out on the West Coast. Vasu, welcome to ATL Prime Sports with TC and our producer, Wayne from Memphis, Tennessee. JJ's out today.
Hey, Todd, how are you? TC and Wayne, how are you both? Nice to see you. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, it's been a long time. I think we had you on last summer. You look good. Looked like you got a lot of sun out there in California. I was out in California myself, Southern California myself, working USA Nationals. In April last year, I'd never been to California. I just couldn't believe how beautiful it was. I was in the Irvine area.
Oh, I love the area. I've been in California since forever, and it just it works out well for me being here for a long time. Did I lose you guys?
No, we're still here.
Hear you
okay.
Clear.
Okay, you're hearing me clear. That's good. The camera's going in and out on you guys, so hopefully it's going for me. Yeah, no, good to be with you guys. I appreciate it. Lots to talk about Major League Baseball. I heard when I was getting in, I heard you talk about Sam Hartman. Yeah, that's a big loss for Wake Forest. I'm a big college football and college basketball guy, so that's a big loss for Wake Forest. I got some friends that were alumnus of there, so it's going to be good. All your Southeast football, I'm fired up for Southeast football all over that area. I love watching it in the mornings before I go do my thing.
Yeah, let's go ahead and stay with football. We'll go to baseball in a few minutes. I gotta ask, USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten in 2024. What are your thoughts on that? To me, that's just it's a huge get for the Big Ten. And, we all know why they did it. It's money. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a big loss for the Pac-12. I grew up in I was in Chicago until I was like 3 or 4 years old. Moved to Southern California when I was a kid, so I always wanted to play baseball at UCLA. So I always watched UCLA and USC basketball and football when I was a kid, all through these years. And you probably know Ted Robinson. Ted Robinson does the Pac-12 network, and we talked about it recently. He goes, when USC football is good, the conference is good, and when UCLA football or UCLA basketball and Arizona basketball is good, then the conference is good. And now you're losing the two prime members of the no pun intended, the two prime members of the Pac-12 system. And I don't know what's going to happen with the Pac-12. Everybody's trying to recruit other schools. We know Texas and Oklahoma are going to the SEC, so it's just a lot of change. Eventually, we're going to get. It's going to be. I mean, it's already pros, right? The NILs are coming in, so it's eventually going to be a playoff system. We just don't know how many teams they're going to have in the playoff system. But it's a big loss for the Pac-12 to lose USC and UCLA, Todd.
What happens to the conference in the future? I mean, they're going to have to go, maybe I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Right now, there's a lot of unknown. What are you hearing out there?
I haven't heard very much yet. It's still 2 years away. They're still trying to come back. We're all trying to come back from the COVID years and everything coming back from that. So it's just a matter of trying to realign everything. The Pac-12 has a new commissioner. Last year was his first year in George Kliavkoff, the new Pac-12 commissioner. He seems to be a business guy that wants to run the business. He took him out of the publicity spotlight that Larry Scott had. So the Pac-12 the business model seems to be working well. But a matter of losing some of these teams are going to be tough for the conference. You're just trying to figure out who you can get back from maybe a Big 12 conference or move some Mountain West teams in. I don't know where you go from here, but out of the teams that are left after 2024, the only teams that I could see just from what the rosters are now are University of Washington. Maybe Stanford comes back. David Shaw's a terrific coach. Cal's on the up and rise. Arizona State has now kind of established themselves a little bit more with the pro coaching style they have with Coach Herm there. So we'll see where it goes. But right now, UCLA and USC, a big loss for the Pac-12. And obviously it's about money because you're not doing it for the travel. You're not doing it for the schools because they got to travel all through the Midwest. Remember, Todd, a few years ago when the Big East was trying to expand and they wanted San Diego State in the Big East, and you're talking about miles for them. That would have been, I'm glad they said no at that time going into it. And they're in the Mountain West and they're dominating the Mountain West, both in football and basketball. I'm a San Jose State alum, so Mountain West is near and dear to my heart. They have a package now on Fox Sports late night, so it's been good for the conference exposure to be able to get some football and basketball in conference wise. But it's a new world. I mean, we're in a new world. It's not the way we grew up, Todd. It's just the way it is, and that we're all going to have to adjust to it.
We're in the name, image, and likeness world. We're also
That's it.
Where the kids are now going to get compensated, and I'm okay with that because for years the universities and the coaches were able to make a ton of money. The coaches were able to move along, do whatever they want to do. They can break a contract, go somewhere else. Now the kids have that opportunity, and they do have some power and some say. If they're like it somewhere, they can go somewhere else. I really don't have a problem with any of that. I'll tell you what, now the kids' eyes are really open because the Big Ten just signed a huge television deal. They'll have national TV. They'll be on at Fox at noon, and at 3:30 they'll have the national game of the week on CBS, and at 7 or 7:30 they'll have a national game on NBC. USC and UCLA have got to be thrilled.
Don't forget Fox has a night game. Don't forget ABC has the primetime game.
Yeah.
Don't forget Fox will have 3 games between Fox and Fox Sports 1.
Yep.
We'll all be there. I mean, we're all getting a piece of the pie by our employment, but also the universities are getting a big share of the pie too as well, Todd.
Well, you're right. I mean, that's what it's all about, creating big dollars so everybody can benefit, and I have zero problem with it. Let's get off the business side of football. let's go to actually the game on the field. The Pac-12 is going to be really interesting this year. USC, you might have heard they have a new coach.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, they intrigue me as much as any team in a country.
Not only that, they got a quarterback too.
Right.
Kind of recruiting on a quarterback too.
What do you think of USC?
Well, like I said, if they're good in the conference is better. And with Lincoln Riley coming in, who you're talking about,
yep.
and their quarterback coming in, I mean, look at what Oklahoma did. Look at what Oklahoma did last year, and now they're going to come to USC. The system's going to be the same. A lot of guys that are coming in have already either know the system or they're working on it as well as they can. And you got to think that they're primed and ready to go because they're playing for national championships down there in Southern California on the other side of LA.
I believe that. I think they're a dark horse. They could potentially win this conference. But the two favorites, let's face it, they're Utah and Oregon. And Oregon comes here for the first game of the year here at the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta playing the defending national champs. How about that? We talked about Georgia football earlier in the show. How's that segue?
They also have Oklahoma has Texas. Oklahoma has Alabama. Who has Alabama in
Texas?
Texas, yeah, okay. Oklahoma,
Alabama,
Texas, in Austin.
Right, and Utah has Florida.
And Utah has Florida. Yeah, I was looking at some of the schedules early on, trying to figure out where the networks were going. We're too early for the network games, but in terms of some of the games, I have an Ohio State affiliation with my dad being an alum there, so they get Notre Dame. They get Notre Dame as well. And if you look, depending on which poll you look at, they're number 2 in the coaches poll, but number 1 in the AP poll. They're going to be really good, and they've got a good thing going there. And they just seem to retool their offense. Defensively, we'll see how they go. But the Buckeyes look good. I'm kind of rooting for them. We'll see Oklahoma how they do. They're open. They have a game against Nebraska early in the year in Lincoln. A lot of good matchups early in the year, and when they get to conference football, the power conferences will take over, and by then, everybody will have an idea of who it is. But I mean, Georgia right now, who's going to be favored over Georgia? Georgia and Ohio State, Alabama probably are the cream of the crop right now.
Georgia's my number 1 in the preseason poll. I do it TC's top 10 every week on Twitter, and I've got Georgia 1 until the defending champs are beat. I'll stick with them. But you mentioned Ohio State. They got the new defensive coordinator coming over from Oklahoma State, Jim Knowles, and I expect their defense to improve in a New York minute.
Oh, without a doubt. I think it's going to be a very interesting college football season, especially with the NILs and everything going on in college football. It's clearly a business now. Talking about kids going to class and all this other stuff. Yeah, you hope everything's still the same way from that standpoint, but it's clearly a business and kids are making money. And I'm with you. You said earlier, I'm with you. Kids should be making money. They're making money for the school. If they have an opportunity to make some money, then they should be able to make some money. And I used to be one of these guys, oh, you got to stay in school for 4 years and all this and then go out and get a job. Well, isn't the idea to go to college to get a job? And so if you can do that in 1 year or 2 years, or as far as the NBA, not to switch sports, go to the G League and make some money and then go play. Don't put the facade of college out there. And so I've totally turned around on it. Maybe I'm just getting old and realize who's going to college and who's not going to college are clearly the way to go here.
We're all getting old. There's no doubt about that.
Every second. Yeah.
Who's your favorite in the Pac-12? Is it Utah or is it Oregon? I mean, to me, it's got to be Utes.
I got to see how Utah comes out because they lost a lot of seniors last year. That's the problem with Utah. They maximize their effort when week 3 and week 4 come in. Whittingham's a good coach. He gets the most out of his players, but they have a lot of turnover as well too. And I think with them having been in the Mountain West and now the Pac-12, they do lose some transfers here and there. They're running back as far as the Pac-12 goes. USC has their share of running backs as well too. I like Oregon, but I got to lean towards USC a little bit. I think Lincoln Riley's gonna show some teams here because he's a passing guy. Pac-12 is a passing league. They don't have to worry about defense as much because it's never been a defensive league, at least 5 or 6 years since it turned into the Pac-12. So we'll see how that goes. But I like USC. I like Lincoln Riley. I do like Oregon a lot and Utah. So as far as the South and North goes, I think the top 2 teams in the South are going to be USC and Utah, and then Oregon in the North will probably, and it'll be a good championship. It'll be a good season. Don't underestimate Stanford. David Shaw, when he has a bad year, he usually ends up retooling as well. Cal's up and coming. Oregon State's pretty good. Washington.
Kelly, UCLA.
Chip Kelly where?
At UCLA.
Oh yeah, Chip Kelly, UCLA. Yeah, but their defense hasn't been very good the last few years, and he's burned out some of his teams by running that run and gun stuff that he does. But I like Washington a little bit too. I think Washington might have a say in this as well too.
Herm Edwards at Arizona State.
And Arizona State as well too. But I don't know if they're good defensively as it goes with Utah and UCLA right now. Well, they've given up a lot of points, and they should have been better than they were in the last couple of years. But they had some things that have gone wrong, and of course the recruiting violations, some of their coaches that have gone on. They're trying to recover from some of that the last couple of years as well too.
I can't wait till Oregon plays Georgia here in Atlanta, with Lanning coming over, the DC there at Georgia, and now the HC there at Oregon. I mean,
yeah, don't tell my Pac-12 friends I'm going like 17.5 might not be enough for Georgia. I think they're going to blow them out. Georgia's really
you do? Tough. Well, you know, JJ will listen to this, and he'll be pleased for you.
I got a phone call from him, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Well, let's get off college football. Let's go to Major League Baseball. I don't know if you heard about it, but we'll start off with kind of some stories. You know, locally here in Atlanta, we'll talk the Braves. As you know, Vaughn Grissom got his call up today from AA Mississippi. He's 20 years old, 11th-round pick in 2019. He had 14 homers and 67 RBIs between two levels, between high A and double A. And wow, this kid is supposed to be a good one in 344 plate appearances. He's coming in because Orlando Arcia, you know, is headed to the IL, and Grissom will take over at second base. And of course, Atlanta still has they still have they still got
Albies coming back. Is he coming back by the end of the year?
They expect him back in September. That's the word here. But you know, Grissom coming up. You know, this is what the Braves do. They bring prospects up. We all know about Michael Harris II. He's a local guy here from south side of Atlanta. And if this kid Grissom is as good as Harris, I'm telling you what, people are going to have a hard time getting in the Atlanta lineup.
Well, I mean, they retool, right? They're coming off a world championship. They lose Freddie Freeman to free agency. I wonder how that, in the beginning, I'm sure that didn't go very well, but they traded for Matt Olson. Everybody in Oakland, out here in the Bay Area where I live, knows how good Matt Olson is. The A's are a farm club to a bunch of major league teams. Matt Olson going back to his hometown in that area, he's playing as well as Freddie Freeman. I want to ask you this. You know what? I'm going to turn it around a little bit here. I'm going to ask you how it turned around for Freddie Freeman coming back to Atlanta to get his ring and everything like that. You know, I know Matt Olson a little bit here at his time with the A's since he was in Single A. I give him a lot of credit for not bringing up anything or talking about, you know, he could have easily come out that weekend and said, hey, you got a pretty good first baseman here after losing Freddie Freeman. But I give Matt Olson a lot of credit saying, hey, this is Freddie's weekend. I'm going to play. I'm going to do my thing. And I'm just going to keep quiet and let my bat do the talking, let the weekend go by. And all he's done is lead the league in doubles and batting average and a Gold Glove first base. And they haven't missed a beat without Freddie Freeman there. Though Freddie's having a good year in L.A. For my guys out here in L.A., he's leading the league in hits, and he's batting averages up there, and he's doing just fine in L.A. But I think Matt Olson gets the A award for class for not causing a stir during that weekend when Freddie Freeman was being celebrated.
Well, you hit it right on the nail, right on the head. I thought Matt Olson has been a class act and was a class act that weekend all year. He hasn't hit for average like Braves fans would like to see, like Freddie Freeman does, but he's had more power this year than Freeman. But you're hitting 325, guys. I mean, Freddie Freeman has been incredible for the Dodgers, and despite all, quote unquote, all these distractions, he sure doesn't look like he's distracted out there at all in Los Angeles. And he's playing for a team that has a shot to go to the World Series, and his former team has a shot to go to the World Series. If they meet up in the NLCS, I'm telling you what, the folks at Fox are going to go nuts, because that is going to be the ultimate matchup. Or if the Mets play one fabulous ratings. But, this Grissom kid, if I can go back to him for a second, Vaughn Grissom, this is kind of a tryout for him because Dansby Swanson is a free agent at the end of the season, the kid from, Metro Atlanta. He may not be here. He has the same agent as Freddie Freeman did, and that's Casey Close. The story out there was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Freddie's former agent.
Right. So, Grissom really shines. The Braves have a decision to make. And to me, I'm not sure if there's enough games for them. I think you've got to bring back Dansby Swanson, who's turned himself into an all-star shortstop in the field and at the plate.
Well, Dansby Swanson, I mean, you look at all the shortstops that are out there going to be in the free agent market with Turner and Dansby Swanson. Carlos Correa could has the option. Xander Bogaerts in Boston is also a free agent. I heard a couple other names that are going to be free agent shortstops. So it's just a matter of maybe this isn't the year for Dansby to go out there. Maybe he can go through arbitration, or maybe he can sign a 1-year contract, kind of bet on himself, like who did that for the 1 year, bet on himself, and then ended up getting a big contract later on. A lot of guys do that, but you got to think that Dansby Swanson, if he's not going to get the money that Trey Turner or somebody else will get, then you got to think that he might go back to short. The Dodgers lost Corey Seager, so that I think their optimum ideal bid is to go after Trey Turner and keep him in Los Angeles, because if they were going to keep Seager, then it would have been hard to keep Trey Turner there.
That's
because
right.
Trey Turner played second base.
Seager went to Wayne's club, the Texas Rangers, and
right.
Texas could be an up-and-coming team next year. That would make Wayne happy. He's a big. Let's go ahead and let's stay with the National League. What team? To me, it's the San Diego Padres. They improved themselves the most during the deadline. Yet they got ran out of the gym, barn, stadium, whatever you want to call it, against the Dodgers. I mean, Los Angeles took it to them. But, the Padres, they're only one game up in this wild card. And everybody's going, well, they're going to play Los Angeles playoff. They're going to have to get it together. I know they won yesterday. They're going to have to get it together. Even with all this star talent, they've got 4 new starters in the lineup because of the deadline. We all know Soto and Josh Bell and Drury.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a great job. But if they keep, slumping a little bit, they're going to fight for their playoff lives and could be out of the playoffs.
Yeah, Padres are an interesting team. They made all the trades. They got Josh Hader. He struggled last night against the Giants. He had 3 runs in the 9th inning. Padres ended up winning it with Machado. Here's the thing with the Padres. Last year, Jay Stingler was their manager, and they were horrendous defensively. They were just so bad fundamentally. Second half of the year, they just went down. I couldn't see them winning anything. The problem with the Padres and everybody else in the NL West, and then frankly in the National League right now, Dodgers only have 33 losses, and we're at August 10th. I mean, 74-33 going into tonight against Minnesota, who's a really good team, but they're not in the Dodgers class right now as far as the American League goes. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Dodgers fan. I'm saying it because the record's 74-33. We've had this conversation, Todd. I am a homer when it comes to it, but let's face the facts. They're 74-33. I think everybody would love that. Padres are playing for a wild card. Teams get hot in the wild card. Look at all the wild cards that have won the World Series out here. The Giants won one of their World Series as a wild card. A lot of wild cards have won the World Series. The Angels won in 2002 as a wild card back in the day. They're trying to play for a wild card spot right now because they're not going to catch the Dodgers. They're 16 back. The Giants are 22 back. Arizona, Colorado, way back behind that. They're playing for a wild card and hope that they can get hot, get these guys going as it gets towards the playoffs, and hopefully they'll get a good seed in the wild card round where they'll have to play the 5 team. If they can end up 4, they'll play 4 or 5. They don't want to end up 6 because they don't want to play against the 3 seed because the 3 seed will probably be St. Louis, and St. Louis gives them a tough time as well too. And if they can pitch, Josh Hader hopefully will get his act going. The Giants have gotten to him twice. He Yastrzemski grand slam a few weeks ago when he was with Milwaukee, and then last night giving up the 3 runs. They've got 7 more games against the Giants. Not saying the Giants will beat him, but he's got the NL West to deal with, and the Dodgers can hit anybody. We know that. The Padres can play with anybody, and he gets wild. if they're the guys, if he's the guy that they're going to rely on, then he's got to pitch better. Offensively, they're really good. They're going to get Tatis back. It's going to be like a mid-season trade. They're going to get him back. They'll probably put him in the outfield. If it's between Grisham and him, I'd put him in the outfield because he's not a very good defensive player, and I'd keep Kim at short. Machado's Gold Glove at third. Cronenworth's been great at second, and now they've got first base covered as well too, with Josh Bell, who's a Gold Glove first baseman too. By the way, Josh Bell, the Washington Nationals. Let's talk about the Washington Nationals for a second. Trey Turner is your throw-in along with Max Scherzer last year to get that trade done, and Josh Bell is your throw-in to get Juan Soto, to get him off your books as well too. Mike Rizzo, what are you doing out there in Washington?
Man, and people criticize the Dodgers because they got Martin out of the pen and they got Joey Gallo from the Yankees, and I'm thinking,
yeah.
Well, look, your team ERA is under 3.
Yeah.
You score over 5 runs a game. Only one team since 1913 has done that, and that was the 42 Yankees. So the Dodgers are historically really good offensively, defensively. I have one worry for the Dodgers. Actually, 2. One, the back end of the bullpen makes me nervous, number 1. Yeah. And number 2, they've got to have healthy starting pitching at the time of the playoffs. They've got to have a healthy Kershaw.
They do, but here's the thing: they're 73-30. This is what I was telling some people about last year, especially out here in the Bay Area, because the Dodgers so anti because of the Giants fans out here. Giants all had career years. You talk about the Dodgers; they're still 74-33. And Buehler's been hurt. Kershaw's been hurt. Craig Kimbrell has not been as good as advertised coming into this year. They're still looking for an 8th inning guy. Vesey has been really good. Now Chris Martin could be a valuable piece from the Cubs in their bullpen staff. They haven't had even career years from guys. Freddie Freeman's having a great year. Justin Turner's been injured. He just got back yesterday. Max Muncy was hitting 150. Cody Bellinger was hitting 180. He's got 15 home runs. I mean, these guys were struggling in the 74-33.
Right.
And you got to figure that they're going to come back. Muncy's come back the last few days. Bellinger hit 2 home runs the other night against the Padres on Sunday Night Baseball. If you have 9 guys that have career years and it's an aberration or what their baseball cards say, that's a Chuck Tanner statement, by the way, not a Vasu Vaddiparty statement.
You know what? Speaking of years, really the MVP to me could be Trey Turner at shortstop for Los Angeles, or it could be Austin Riley.
Your guy, Austin Riley. I love Austin Riley.
Yep. Those 2 players seem to be my favorite for NL MVP.
And you know what they both do? They both catch the ball. They both catch the ball.
It's true. Not only do they catch it, but they crush it.
That's right. Yeah, but defensively, you got to have defense when you get down to September and in October. You need the defense. And Austin Riley's great. Trey Turner's great. The Dodgers' defense has been better than advertised, even though they're not very good right now. But they've got first base covered now, and Muncy's there, and so they've got it all going. Bellinger can play center with anybody. Gallo's actually very underrated. I mean, Wayne will know he's a Texas Rangers guy. Joey Gallo's a very underrated outfielder. He's got a great arm. He's got a lot of speed, and I think left field will be pretty good for him. Hopefully his bat will get going for Dodger fans. But right now the team, they're not even peaking offensively, and yet they're blowing teams out. They swept the Padres over the weekend. They beat the Giants last week up here in San Francisco. So they're on a roll, and they beat Minnesota last night. Minnesota's no slouch, and they're pretty good. They've got a rookie guy. They've got Pepio going tonight against Sonny Gray, and they're like for gambling stuff, they're like $1.70 favorites still. And Sonny Gray is really good, and the Twins' offense is really good.
This amazes me when you look at this National League. Really, there's only one team that's going to be out between the Braves, the Mets, and the Phillies, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Los Angeles, and San Diego. Who's your odd team out and why? And number 2, everybody thought the NL West was going to be the best division in the National League. It's turned out to be the NL East, because I think you're going to get 3 teams in the playoffs from the NL East. I think Philadelphia's getting in along with the Braves and the Mets. My odd out team is Milwaukee. What's yours?
Yeah, I don't think Milwaukee hits enough. And I think that after they traded Hader, I don't know if it's payroll situation or the fact he was a free agent at the end, Milwaukee just doesn't hit enough. And they're actually outside the wild card. They're only a half game back They're only a half game back of St. Louis right now. Something about St. Louis when they get to the playoffs, they play well. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Milwaukee 4-6. Milwaukee came back today against the Rays. Something about the Cardinals when they get to the playoffs, they seem to put it on. But teams right now, the Mets seem to be very good. I know they played the Reds, not tough competition, but they've got semi-healthy Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom just coming back. That's what the Dodgers are doing. They're getting these guys back now in August, and now you add those two pitchers. It's like a mid-season trade to get Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom back, and they'll be dominant if that's the case. The Dodgers are plus 233 in run differential. So go figure that. That goes to your 5.5 runs a game and only giving up 3 runs. They're 9-1 in their last 10. They've won 9 in a row. The Mets have won 6 in a row after this afternoon. They're 8-2. I like Buck Showalter. What Buck Showalter has done, maybe the baseball gods are finally looking down on him with a happy smile, because after all the years of struggling, he's a good baseball guy. Finally got some talent. Now they're 73-39. No slouch, and in another year it might be the best record. But then the Dodgers, I actually undervalued them, 76-33 after last night against Minnesota.
Now, what I want you to reply to this. Where do you see the Braves? Because they picked up Iglesias from the Angels, they picked up Rodney Grossman from the Tigers, they picked up Jake Odorizzi from the Astros. They did get rid of their closer last year, Will Smith, and we all know who's closing now for the Braves. They seem to have the least ifs, if you ask me. The Mets, is Scherzer and deGrom going to be healthy? If they are, then look out. If they're not, they're in trouble. Same thing for Los Angeles. Even though they're so darn good, if they don't have Kershaw, they're in trouble. Where do you see the Braves? Because I think they have the least ifs. Well, I will give you one if. Robert Acuna, today's a.k.a. Ricky Henderson, if he stay healthy, him running the bases is a delight. The Braves.
Well, they won a World Series. They won a World Series with him out the whole second half of the year, right?
So
they're trying to do the same thing this year. They added outfielders. This kid Spencer Strider has turned out to be really good for them as a starter as well too. Even though he lost the other night, Atlanta 5-5 in their last 10. I mean, they struggle. There are some games they struggle. The Boston series they struggle a little bit. Their starting pitcher Charlie Morton was okay, but they seem to have it going on from the East. But you said the NL East is the best division. So they got to fight out Philadelphia. They got to fight out the Mets. They still got games with the Mets. I know they still have games with the Phillies. Phillies are hot right now. They won 6 in a row. They got Syndergaard. They seem to have solved their bullpen issues a little bit, and they're playing well right now. And we'll see from a Philadelphia standpoint, because if they can somehow get Bryce Harper back to complement, because Castellanos has had a bad year. Rhys Hoskins hasn't been great. Alec Boehm turned it around a little bit. Their shortstop has been pretty good. They released Gregorius, so now they're going with Bryson Stott at shortstop. Segura came back. He's hitting the ball a little bit. So we'll see what Philadelphia does. I'm interested to see what Philadelphia does. From a wild card standpoint, where are they? Are they second? They're second in the wild card.
Harper back, they're dangerous.
Well, they're dangerous anyway, because now they've got the pitching. Aaron Nola is really good. He's undervalued as far as baseball goes. People don't know who Aaron Nola is. Aaron Nola is their ace of the staff, and they've got Syndergaard now. They've got Kyle Gibson, who's turned it around in the last 6 weeks as well too. And you close. They had closer issues. They had middle relief issues, and now they get Iglesias. I'm sorry, the Braves got Iglesias.
Oh, the Phillies acquired David Robertson from the Cubs.
Yeah, they got David Robertson. Yeah, I got them mixed up. David Robertson came from the Cubs. Right. He's been successful in the past, and now Alec Boehm looks like he's a leader for that team as well too. Hoskins, Segura, Stott, and Boehm in the infield with Hoskins. I'm sorry, with their outfield. Their outfield's really good as well too. So you just got to figure that they traded Moniak away at overall #1 draft pick to get Syndergaard. So let's see how it goes for them. But I still think it's a Mets division. I think their pitching's too good.
Who do you have the World Series from the NL?
From the NL? Oh, well, I mean, give me a break. I'm going to say Dodgers already. Let me set that up on a tee for me.
Well, you know what? I wanted to. It's my pick, but I can't count out Atlanta. I can't count out New York. If San Diego gets in, I surely can't count them out. And I can't count out even the Phillies. I mean, I just can't count out anybody, because Atlanta was under 500 last year, the first week of August, and they won the whole cotton picking thing. So,
all right, Tom, I'll give you a complimentary pick. If the Dodgers don't get in and something happens and they don't win, then I think the Mets will get in there. If DeGrom and Scherzer stay with them, because it looks like Diaz has got his control issues down, and it looks like he's throwing the ball well, and he's not giving up anything. And something that Showalter's doing with him somehow has turned him around, because he is lights out now in the 9th inning, where he used to be a 50-50 proposition for the Mets right now. I'm going to go with the Mets.
Strider for Atlanta, when he pitched against the Mets the other day, he did his inner John Rocker and started trash saying they were lucky. I'm like, don't do that. Don't throw the fire. But let's from the NL to the AL. And the Yankees, to me, they made some huge moves. They got Frankie, what is it, Montas?
From Montas, from Oakland.
I'm sorry, from. And they also got Benintendi. To me, that was a huge move for New York. They also got relief pitcher Scott Efros from the Cubs. He's a sidewinder guy.
Right.
But the Yankees are skidding right now. They did all these moves at the deadline. Are they still the team to beat in the American League or no?
Well, Houston's pretty good. They're 71-40. They actually have a better record now than the Yankees do. They're red hot. Astros made some trades as well too. They've got some guys. The Altuves, the Bregmans. Kyle Tucker is very underrated. You guys know about his brother Preston Tucker when he was in Atlanta. Kyle Tucker was an all-star this year. They've got the pitching right now. Their bullpen's really good. Ryan Presley, until the other day, Ryan Presley had 28 straight games where he didn't give up a run. And so that bodes well for them. Their defense is really good. It's just a matter of if they can do it through the playoffs. They can hit. We know they can hit. We know what kind of manager Dusty Baker is. He's
we know how good Justin Verlander is. Him and Scherzer are 39 years old, and they have ERAs under 2. And I'm a Tigers guy, and I'm going, why didn't we keep them years ago? But
he had a bad shoulder. He had a bad shoulder, and Scherzer signed. Hey, 39 is the new 29, Todd. In this day and age, the way athletes keep themselves going.
I wish it was for Miguel Cabrera, but it's not. So, okay, since we went through that, I'm going to throw this out to you. Like I said, the Braves a year ago were under 500, and they got to the World Series. The White Sox under Tony La Russa have been skidding. They're only one game out of the AL Central. They lost Anderson, the shortstop. If they can get them back, can they surprise and be the new Atlanta and come out of the American League?
The way that the Chicago White Sox, and I'm a little partial to Chicago because I'm a South Side guy, being born there, and that's my American League team. The only way the Chicago White Sox are going to win is if they can catch the ball, because they can hit, they can throw a little bit. Their bullpen's pretty good with Hendricks and Graveman on the back end of the bullpen. Their biggest problem is their defense. They cannot catch the ball to save their lives. They are this year's version of the Jace Tingler San Diego Padres, who could not catch the ball in the second half of the season. Unfortunately for the White Sox, they couldn't catch the ball in the first half of the season. And so that's why they're where they're at, because they should be dominating this AL Central. Cleveland is not very, Cleveland's very good, and they've got Shane Bieber. They've got things going on for them a little bit, but they don't hit a lot of home runs. They just released Franmil Reyes, which shocked the heck out of me. And then Minnesota, I can't figure Minnesota out. They traded Taylor Rogers, their closer, at the beginning of the year, and then they've been trying to find a closer all year. And now they've traded. Now they got somebody back, Pagan. I don't even know. They traded for a closer the other day, and I can't remember who it was. But they haven't made an impact yet. They haven't played very well in their last 10. They're 5-5, and now they got one more game against the Dodgers. But the White Sox should have been the clear-cut division winner in this division from the beginning of the year. Their defense.
I was going to say it's a 3-way horse race.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I don't know who's going to win it, but I want to shift to the East. I'm pulling for Baltimore to get in there. That would be the story of the year.
No doubt.
Trey Mancini, who they traded him at the deadline.
Yeah. They traded a couple of guys at the deadline, and now they're there. They are third in the wild. They're tied with Tampa Bay for third in the wild card. They're a game and a half back of the Mariners. The Mariners got 2 wins against the Yankees this week. They came back against the Yankees this afternoon. They say a game and a half back, but they're even in the loss column. They're only 2 back at Toronto for the top wild card spot. They are too far back in the East, obviously, with the Yankees being 71-41. But they can sure get to the top of the heap for the wild card right now. They could be 4th. They're only 2 back at Toronto, and I'm not sold on Toronto for some reason. Toronto's offense is good, but their bullpen has not been very good this year. And it showed yesterday when Baltimore beat them. Odor, I don't know if you heard the highlight, but Rougned Odor is having his Toronto redemption tour based on what happened 6 years ago in the ALCS. They're calling it the Rougie Odor redemption tour.
Well, Wayne would know about that being a Rangers fan.
Yeah.
There's no doubt he would know about that. All right, does Aaron Judge pass Roger Maris? Does he get it done? I think so.
Well, in that stadium, I don't know how many home games they have left, but the wind turn is to right center. He hits the ball to right center. He hits it a long way to right center. The home run he hit today was one-handed over the left center field wall in Seattle.
I saw it. It was incredible.
My friend and I turned up the 2000 movie 61 of the Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle home run race, done by Billy Crystal from 20 years ago, and all the talk that was going on then, and all the things that were going on then, and it was appropriate watching Judge go off this week. I think certainly 61 for Roger Maris is, with the whole month of August, half a month of August, and the whole month of September, totally doable for Aaron Judge. Totally doable for Aaron Judge. 73 might be a little tough. 73 might be a little tough.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to go a little quick here. We're getting towards the end. Shoney on time. Yeah. I mean, I can take him as MVP. I don't care what the Angels' record is. He's the modern day Babe Ruth. What is he, like 10-7 with a 2.6 ERA, 25 homers, 66 RBIs? I mean, he's hitting 256 and a 2.68 ERA pitching. This is my MVP. I don't care. Or Aaron Judge, obviously.
Well, Ohtani is Babe Ruth because they said yesterday he's here in Oakland this week. 25 home runs and 10 wins. Only Babe Ruth has 25 home runs and 10 wins in a season. So there you go. Two guys. Two. Count them. 1, 2. Major League Baseball history.
And
140,000 years, and it's two guys.
Incredible. Who comes out of the American League for you, and who wins it all?
Boy. I was going to say the Yankees. I don't like anybody in the Central. Minnesota pitches better than they could do something because they do play the Yankees tough. You know what? Just as a fan, I'm rooting for Seattle. Seattle or Baltimore. Those are good stories. And I'm friends with Dave Sims. They were fabulous last night in that 1-0 game. I listened to him on the radio. I think the Seattle Mariners are really good. I think their bullpen's really good. They get clutch hitting. They took it to the Yankees this week. They've got Luis Castillo, who was awesome last night, 8 innings, no runs. I think that was a great trade for Seattle. I know the Yankees wanted Castillo. A bunch of teams wanted Castillo. They are 12 games back in the division. But like I said, you don't have to win the division to win a World Series.
Right.
You can go out and get hot.
So you got Seattle and the Dodgers in the World Series. Is that right?
Why not? Or the White Sox. I mean, I should root for my teams, I guess.
You know what? And you mentioned Dave Sims. What a broadcasting career out in Seattle. He's one of the best in the business.
He is. He's great. Known him for a few years. He's a good guy. We talk every once in a while, and I just enjoyed the excitement that comes out. I like watching him do the basketball on the during the fall. He does the early part of the FS1 deal for basketball for Big East. He's a Big East guy. He's from New York, but he's been out there now for 16, 17 years. They love him out there, and he and Rick Riz have been out there for a long time, and they do a great job on the Mariners broadcast. They haven't been very good over those years, so the old joke is with Kruk and Kipe out here in San Francisco is hopefully your announcers are not your most popular things for the ball club.
I have the MLB package. I watch them all. They're one of the best in the business, without a doubt. We've got the Field of Dreams game tomorrow in Dyersville, Iowa. Chicago and my National League team, the Cincinnati Reds. I'm just having a bad year, as you can tell.
Yeah.
But I like the Braves too. But wow, I'm hoping the Reds do win tomorrow against the Cubs. But I'm sure you're rooting for Chicago with your Chicago.
No, not really. Not really. I mean, it doesn't matter. It was a good show. I mean, you got to have a Chicago team in there because they're all Cubs and White Sox fans in Iowa. So you got to have a Chicago team. But what they did last year with the field and getting the fans out there, especially coming off COVID, it was an exciting game. They mic'd up Hendricks in the bullpen before he came into the game, and it's just outstanding theater. And Joe Davis and John Smoltz are going to have a good call tomorrow. It's going to be great for them to do that game in Dyersville. I got a buddy that grew up in Iowa. He used to be he's a Saints reporter now, and they visited when he was a kid after the filming of the movie, and they said it's just a neat town, Dyersville, Iowa. It's on my bucket list, Todd.
Mine too. One of my best friend that lives here in Georgia, one of my best friends, he grew up only 30 miles from there.
All right, you and I, the next 2 years, you and I in Dyersville, Field of Dreams games. We'll go have a blast.
I've got to bring my friend, but he's a big Cubs fan. So,
all right, that's fine. We'll figure it out.
Yep, we will figure it out. Thank you so much, Vasu, for coming on. We're out of time.
Todd, Wayne, anytime. Appreciate the invite.
Gosh, we got to do this again, man. You could rip off baseball off the top of your head like it's going out of style.
That's after I cocktailed too. Maybe it's better.
When are you working? Are you coming up? Are you working another series here soon?
I got Rangers Mariners on Saturday. Mariners Oakland here in Oakland on the 20th, and then I got college football schedules that I haven't seen yet, but I've got a couple of college football games starting in September, and then we'll finish up the pennant races in September, and we'll head to Pac-12 football. I'm hoping to get out of the Pac-12 for a little bit, some non-conference games. I'm hoping to get to see some Midwest games. I haven't been to Austin in a long time. I want to get to Norman. I want to get to some Big Ten. Fox owns a Big Ten network, so I'm hoping maybe get some Big Ten games and try and see some. I got some friends in Lincoln, so I'd love to go to Lincoln and check out a Nebraska game. So I got a lot of things here. I'm only 80 years old. I'm only 80 years old, Todd. I got some time here to go see some football.
Well, if you ever get here, please let me know. Say hello for Dave Simps for me and tell him I'm a big...
I will. Next time I talk to him, I will.
All right. Hey, thank you, Vasu, for coming on.
All right. Wayne, TC, talk to you soon. Take care.
Take care. Bye now.
All right. Bye-bye.
Vasu Vaddiparty. Great guest here for us on ATL Prime Sports. Went a little longer than you and I thought, Wayne, but that's okay. It was a fantastic baseball conversation. I thought you were going to step in and ask him a couple of Rangers questions because he talked to me off the air and he thinks Texas is going in the right direction, especially picking up Seager in the offseason.
Yeah. Well, it's something that I didn't want to get in there. He was really on a roll talking about stuff, and I was enjoying everything he was saying, so I was kind of sitting back and listening.
He's really fantastic, and hopefully I catch up with him someday on the road. I'll do play-by-play for the SIAC this fall on ESPN Plus. I can't wait for that. Should be getting my schedule in a week or so. I'm pretty excited. I'm really looking forward to college basketball. Do Division II play-by-play for Clayton State men's and women's, and of course I'm ready for another junior hockey season on Hockey TV. Can't wait for that. Well, it's been an hour. I was going to talk about something else, but we're out of time. And it was a great show. And next week, we've got a huge guest for us, a big surprise. I won't divulge that until this individual does come on next week. But we're going to be talking some serious college football, and we're going to be talking college football one way or another because it's around the corner.
Right.
And Wayne, I can't wait. JJ will be back with us, and you'll be back with us. Who knows? Maybe we'll do 2 shows next week. We got a lot going on, and then JJ, I think he goes out of town the week after that, so it'll be back to me and you, and we'll go from there.
All right.
Hey, thanks a lot. For everyone out there, thank you for everything. Thanks to all of our listeners. Remember, you can catch us on ATL Prime Sports. You can check it out at ATL Prime Sports on Twitter. You can check Wayne out at RWY Junior, right?
Right.
JJ, get you one, and myself at Corder Todd, and of course, all of us at ATL Prime Sports. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening and enjoy your Major League Baseball and your college football coming up in the future. Good night, everybody.